for only one value. You may keep specific parts for questions that you need to use for assessment of course learning outcomes. So, for example, one thing that used to take a lot of time from us when we were using like a quiz, exams, specific questions in exams to assess a certain course outcome, which was basically a certain student outcome. In Gradescope, if you make that question as a separate question, it is basically when you download the grades, it is already given to you. You don't have to put anything. That's why when some of my colleagues they used to say, well, especially when they see me going to scan, they will say, well, by the time you scan, we could have started grading manually. But the thing is, once these are scanned, you don't have to enter individual grades. All these are kept for you. And you can anytime you can retrieve them back, even after 3 years or 4 years. Okay, you just go to that assignment, download the grades, and you will have everything. If there is a specific question that you're interested in, there you go, you have that question. So this will take a lot of the overhead effort that we as faculty used to do when we were preparing for student outcome assessment or course learning outcome assessment. Right. So again, we will not be able to see the scanning, so we're going to skip the scanning. So let's do this. Let me start with my first demo. Upload quiz 4 of term 213, ICS 104 Introduction to Programming in Python and C. And the reason why I chose it is that if any of you is interested, if we have time at the end, in trying to see the feature of grading at the same time, more than one faculty, grading at the same time, we can actually apply it here because it was mainly show the output, and it's very easy to grade. Anybody can grade. You don't have to know anything about programming to grade. So let's go to Gradescope, and let's hope that we have internet connection.
You can log into from the Blackboard.
No. Oh, you can. It is integrated. Now in your new courses.
Just one comment. Until now, it's still that feature which is called single sign-on is still not enabled. Allah and Gradescope are working on setting it up. So now, if you go to Blackboard to your course, you'll find that there's a link that says Gradescope. But when you go there, you'll have to log in manually.
I have to create a username and password on Gradescope.
You'll have, for the time being, you'll have to create a username and password on Gradescope.
Then
and so you can access it either directly or through Blackboard. But once, inshallah, Allah and Gradescope set things up, you'll be able to log into Blackboard, and you'll be able to you'll be logged in automatically to Gradescope.
Okay. So this is my Gradescope account. And as you can see, this is ICS 104 Common. This is where we used, if I go to assignments, so this is the midterm exam. It was out of 25, and this was the final programming. These were the submissions, of the students, and here you can see, all the students. So let's go to. Let's go to ICS 104 WASFI. Okay. Now, how do I create an assignment? Well, I will go here to assignment. Of course, quiz 4 is here, but let me do this. So let me say create assignment, and Now, as you can see here, exam or quiz, homework or problem set, bubble sheet. For bubble sheet, I haven't used it, but since we do have ICTC and they do a great job, I don't think I need to worry about it. But usually I use this for the assignments, the free template assignments by the students, so the submission by the students, and I will use the exam or the quiz. I use this for the exams, quizzes, activities, what have you. I will use this. So let's say, exam or quiz, and then I will go next. Assignment name. So let's say workshop 1, and please select the template. So now I need to go here. I hope that yes. Okay. So this is basically the Word document of the quiz. Now, since Gradescope always uploads PDF, you need to save it as PDF. It's already saved as PDF. So I'll just come here and I will say select PDF. And then we go to desktop. Where did I put it? Is it? Oh, it's in USB, the flash. Okay. So this is quiz 4. Okay. And of course, I am the instructor. Create your rubric while grading submissions. Inshallah, we'll talk about this. Create assignment. Okay, so now it's time to create the outline. Create the name region, right? So I will do this. And now you might see why I'm going to try the other way of having just a box and then have Gradescope hopefully better recognize and then create ID region. By the way, when you create the ID, do not use the S. Especially, if you are downloading the names of the students, if you are downloading them from Blackboard, the username comes with the S. You just need to remove that S or download his ID from registrar. Registrar has it without the S. Okay, so this is the name and the ID region, and now we will come to the question. So now there's a new question. Okay, and here let me just call it, one show the output, and now I need to show where am I going to find the output. Well, basically, if you do this, when you open Gradescope, it will concentrate on this region. But if you also would like to see the question, okay, you can choose the whole thing. So let's do it. Let's do one question like the first question. So let's do it this way. And for the second one, I say new question. So this is question 2. Now let's choose it this way. Okay. So this is, let me just use the same thing here. And by the way, I can assign the number of points. And how many questions do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's, most probably they have different weights. But anyways, let's just do 4 for each one. So So this is 4. This is 4. And by the way, if there is a question that has sub-questions, you can add these sub-questions using this plus. So if you do this, this will be the sub-questions. If you have a question and then sub-parts.
When you're highlighting an area, does it have to be specific? I mean, if the student writes beyond the line, does this, can it
you
read
just
it?
need to zoom in and zoom out. بس يعني let me show you. Question 2 كمان معك. Okay. طيب. For example, here, the Gradescope will only zoom on this part. If you see that the student has other things written, you can unzoom. If you do the same in the second question, and if you do this, if you make it like this, then it will show the whole thing. Now, it will show the whole thing. Inshallah, when we look at the advanced features of Gradescope, especially in questions like fill in the blanks. By the way, Gradescope does have automatic recognition. I haven't fully used it yet, but inshallah I'll try. And I was hoping that we have somebody from like the Islamic and Arabic studies, because I might think that they use it, and it would be interesting to know if it does Arabic recognition or not. So anyways, let's do that quickly. So let's.
Can you duplicate
duplicate what?
the question? And no need to create new question, new question. You can duplicate the first one.
No, you have. Yeah, you
have to designate the area.
You have to designate the area. You have to put the title of the question. It doesn't make sense to duplicate. The duplication, by the way, exists in the rubrics, and it's a very nice feature. Yeah. So let's put 4 here, and let's go now to the next question. The next question is here, and this is the final question.
Yes, gross fee.
Now,
I think we are only in the first 20% of the thing, right?
say that again.
Are we in the first 20% of the material?
What of the workshop you mean?
Yes.
Why?
Because we haven't seen the grading, we are looking for the grading.
Yes.
Where is the beef? Where is the beef?
The beef.
هلا
How this guy will figure it out. The thing, how does it grade? The magic.
You're absolutely correct. Right. So now, because some of you have worries, how am I going to? Let me.
We'll call you.
So these are the 3 files that contain the student work. So I'll just do this. Yes.
They are uploading now the
Yes.
files to that.
Yes, it's uploading the.
Just drag and drop.
Yeah, it's good. I just figured that there is a mobile app for Gradescope for the students, so you don't need a scan. They just open the mobile app, they choose the sum, and they can just take a picture of their solution, and it's going to submit immediately.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there is an app for it. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh.
I was looking for an app for the iPad actually. For the instructor, because
No.
right now the instructor is not that good, as
Yeah. I'll send it to you by.
exactly.
It's just for the students, not for the instructors.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, how much support do you have from the owner of this Gradescope? Perhaps some of these things you are troubleshooting, they already have standard procedures for addressing them. Have you contacted them, or you're just kind of working your way through it on your own?
No, I learned it on my own. It's very easy. It's very simple.
But I'm just wondering, do you receive any support, or have you contacted them for any support?
I did, and they are very quick. I remember when I wanted to switch between the submissions of 2 students, and for some reason I didn't know how to do it, and I contacted them, and in less than 24 hours somebody replied and gave me the solution. They're very good in support.
In summary, Are we digitizing the grading process, or we are automating the grading process?
Right now, digitizing.
So, at
But
the end,
automating في البروجرامينج في الكودينج homeworks.
at the end, who is going to judge the correctness of the answer? Who's going to assign the mark? Is it auto or
No,
at the end?
us.
So we are digitizing only.
Yeah, that's what I
We
said,
are not
digitizing. Right
automating
now we
the
are.
process.
Right now we are digitizing, but with the digitizing, there are a lot of good things coming.
We're talking about like roughly 80% success rate in recognizing the student's name and ID that you mentioned, which are basically numbers. Now we're talking example, the output here is typically a number. So how good is the scanner in deciphering the handwriting of students in a formula, for example? Or subscripts that will tell whether they picked the right derivative or not. Does it help in that?
Well, you can zoom in and zoom out. If you use if you use high quality scanning, you can zoom in and zoom out, and it will be much better even than the physical papers. Dealing with the physical.
But anyhow, you are making the judgment, not the computer.
Yes, you are.
You are grading.
You are grading. Right. So now, now as you can see here, because I'm using fixed template, it has created the submissions automatically. Sometimes it might not be able to do that if somebody, for example, used an extra page. Gradescope will be a little bit confused, and in that case, it will say, you know, I'm not sure, and it will take you there, and you need to do it. But here, I don't have to do anything. Everything now is a scan. Yes.
So you mean Gradescope is expecting a certain number of pages?
Yes, because here it's a fixed
We
template.
have a template and
Yes, for example, this quiz, 2 pages, front and back, it expects 2 pages.
So all students have to do the upload perfectly.
No, this is I uploaded.
This is you. But if they scan from they're using their mobile,
Yes.
then they have to be perfect.
No,
If somebody includes an extra page, that's it.
that's it. It will.
For his upload only?
No, it will only be for his upload, and it will be a little bit more overhead on me, because I need to fix, you know, where. Yeah, yeah. But by the way, if he uploads it, there is no problem because he's uploading it. So there is no there is no confusion. You know, this is your work or somebody else's work. This will only happen if you upload. Right. So now let's continue. So we go now to manage submissions, and now we will see how good was it. So as you can see, 26 auto-assigned. So out of 33, we have 26 auto-assigned. So what I usually do is, I will click on the 7 unassigned, okay? And now I will come here, and I will use the numbers starting from the year, here 6 on. Okay, so what do we have? 630.
So you want to search for them.
Yeah, Gradescope actually searches. So it seems, you know, yeah, 6-3. شايفين? It got it.
So which means these names have been stored already before, huh?
Yes, yes. This is when you. Hey, عبد الرحمن الشرقاوي.
When you create the when?
When you created the class.
Okay.
When you created the class.
It's like the
Okay.
you upload your roster, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If it's later,
I'm done. 7 pages. Seven students were not recognized. I just did it, and now everything is ready. Now I can go and start the grade. Okay. Those who might argue that, you know, this takes, you know, a lot of time. Well, believe me, the time that will take you to enter the grade of each student might be equivalent to, you know, the time for scanning and whatever. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but yes.
If I am working with a grader, can I add a grader as an
Yeah.
parent who can help with
Yeah,
it?
that's what I'm saying. And when I'll show you the solutions, and we can all, whoever wants to grade, I can add him to my course, and you can even grade from your mobile. You just need to open the browser بس, and it will not be that big. يعني بس that's a problem. Okay. So now. Okay, now this is in the full version of Gradescope. It asks you whether to grade individually or form answer groups. Now in this case, if you want, you can try to form answer groups, but I wouldn't. Let's just go to grade individually.
What does it mean, the second option?
The second option means if you have, for example, when I gave the example of fill in the blanks. If you have certain answers, Gradescope automatically looks at the ones that are very similar and move them into one group.
And
So, for example, if you have
said this
5,
before, you said this before, when you upload your template, right? When did you set up this?
You set it during. After I click on the group, it will take me through, choosing which part. And it will do the grouping. I haven't done it yet. Yes. But it's very nice in a sense that, like for example, if you had 500 students, and if you can group them like in 2 groups, and you know that the 2 groups, all of them, they have the same answer, grading it is only 1 click. You don't have to have 500 clicks. Right. So now you can see what is being shown to us is only this part. Remember when we chose the only this box in the first question. So now it's just showing this as the output, and now I'm ready to start putting the rubrics. Okay. So let's now go back to the. Shall we have a 5-minute break? Well, I can continue. It's up to you. If you we already missed half an hour. يعني. إيش رأيكم؟
I think you need a break. The others, I think they.
I'm fine.
احنا قاعدين. انت اللي
I'm fine. I can continue. طيب. Okay. So now okay. So this is, by the way, regarding uploading the exam submissions. In quiz 2 term 212, this is I have 111 submissions at once. 86 were auto-assigned, and 25 were manually assigned. And then tips for assigning submissions to students. Look for special names. Well, I used first to look for special names, but then I noticed that if you just use the last digit of the year and a couple of digits later, you will see that you will end up with only 1 student. You just choose him and you continue. You just need to make sure that you read the name and it is basically the same name, and that's it. As you can see, and it was very quick. This is the very nice thing about it. So I use the last 4 or 5 digits in the ID if the name is not clear. Note that all pre-assigned names have been tagged so that you do not reassign them again by mistake. So يعني very well thought صراحة software. طيب. Make sure that the first page has questions to be answered. Actually, I made this mistake in this exam. In this exam, the first page was the regular first page that we usually have in exams, which has only the instructions and it doesn't have anything else. And what happened was, the students, when they submitted when they uploaded, some of them included the first page, some of them excluded the first page. It took me some time to fix, the submissions. But here you can, it's better actually. You start, your answers from the first page. طيب. Keep formula sheets separate so that they do not get scanned. When in discrete structures, I always tell the students, remove the formula sheet so that the formula sheet is not scanned. Okay, we already talked about using front and back.
Sorry, are you going to talk more about the grading itself? Or
Yes, now, rubric design. This is the most important and problematic and mystic thing. How do we develop the rubrics? How do we put the grade? The grading relies on the development of rubrics that you use during grading. Now, one might be tempted, to try to figure out the rubrics from the beginning. I will spend maybe 1 hour and just trying to think of, the rubrics 1, 2, 3, 4. The only problem with this is that usually you do not anticipate the type of mistakes that the students make. And that's why I prefer that, when we design the rubrics, of course I can try it with what you call an initial set, okay? But then, or let's call it a draft, but then that draft will be shaped while grading. And that's why I usually, ask our coordinator, Dr. Niazi, that please give me 1 hour or 1.5 hours so that I can grade 10, 15 pages before I finalize I come up with my draft of the rubrics. So start grading the first few papers, develop rubrics as needed, update them based on the new cases you see. In fact, Gradescope even allows for extreme cases, cases that you cannot really put it in a rubric. There is actually a place in there that will allow you to have to use it. More than one instructor can start grading the same question at the same time. Okay, and of course this better be done after the rubrics have been finalized and after everything is, in your opinion, you think is kind of objective. There is no room for making a mistake. But even if you make a mistake, that's fine. Okay, even if you make a mistake, that's fine. Right, let's look at first the rubrics option that Gradescope gives. So it caters for both the positive grading and the negative grading. Usually I prefer the negative grading, okay? And the default is actually negative grading. And if you want to change the default to positive grading, if you are comfortable with positive grading, you can also do it as positive grading. And of course, here there is a score bound in case you don't have to worry about having all, for example, if you are doing negative grading, that if you add all the deductions that they do not exceed or they do not go below 0, right? Because once it goes below 0, it will only give 0. It will not give -1, -2, -3. Okay. But this is, and similarly for the ceiling, if you are doing positive grading, it will not go beyond the maximum. To tell you the truth, and I didn't use I used the positive grading only once, but I usually use the negative grading. Okay, so now let's look at this question. This is a question and this is an answer, and I would like to ask you, maybe give you a couple of minutes and see whether you can give me what set of rubrics that you can give me. This question is 5 points, and it's asking for evaluating this summation. And there are actually 2 answers for this question. There's one answer. The first answer is if you go from 1 to 499 and basically use the same formula for the sigma I, or you can do a change of value. Okay. طيب. 2 answers. 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 2 ans Would you like me to give you 5 minutes to think about if you were to put the rubrics, what would you do? And then see mine, and then I will show you more examples. You want to give it a shot?
Just go ahead.
Why don't you give it a shot?
Don't give too much options, give instructions.
Yeah. Every table, after 5 minutes, I need a suggestion for, rubrics to grade this question.
What's the rubric in this context? We are familiar with rubrics for everyone. They are giving rubric in this context.
But think of the mistakes that the students do. You have the answer in front of you. Think of the mistakes. Think of the different types of answers that you get.
هذه اللي بتديله جريد.
اسمها شغل على نيجاتيف جريدنج. يعني تقصد
Just a question here. These
يعني
tables
خمسة.
to start grading.
هتقول لو غلط في هذه ناقص كده.
How many mistakes or
في
ما حط correct.
ما حط هتقول مثلا هذه ده ما حط هذه ما
I know what was the
هذه أولي.
percentage out of the total?
second.
هذه نحط الأولى جريد على أن الأولى
Oh,
ما حط
yeah, at the beginning, how many
minus
the actual grade?
adverse أساسية.
Even if you don't get
No need to think.
the fact that sees your grading, sees all the rubrics, and then has the opportunity to challenge you and tell you, here more
انفصل عن الصوت هو اسم
if you think you deserve more,
they have to split it into some starting الفكرة انه سبليت هذه يفرض عليها درجات يصير بوزيتيف بيعرف الليمتس عليها درجات بيعرف الفورم عليها concepts you can split the limit
like for example when you have different solutions,
ممكن يعني not split وعلى يقول split ثاني يعني غير سوي translation
صحيح there might be a level of subjectivity that could be
عشان يصير الصم بالنيو فاريبلز كده الكيس بحيث جيت يصير
for example you put
That's this
minus 2 points is not good.
when he uploaded for these whole faculties. So in other words, teachers
You don't have to check
he talked about anyone can start it say so.
in the translation
like for example this quiz we asked for something that they did not
No, I think he's like maybe the coordinator. They got 5 kids and he uploaded and they're going to because this thing I thought this is one is the 3 upload this machine is going to start
the answer is right, no deduction. Anyways, no deduction because I gave the answer, I gave the marks to all. I gave them because that was my mistake. I made a mistake in the question. I can. The question, for example, was not part of the material. The question was not part of the material.
But the thing is,
I would say that this is wrong.
I think the boss can check them all. But so you can do it on the paper also. Say for instance, you can put you find
هو مضبوط بس انت راح تقراها
you can make
هي مجرد اللهم انك انت ترى كلها شرح صراحه انا
but for us we just
ترى بس قبل كذا لازم تسوي لا لا بس الان ملاحظات القضية إن ملاحظتك على السؤال
So when you mix the students in,
تقدر يعني تكون مثل الطلاب الثانيين، يعني ما في داعي كل طالب تسوي له نفس الشيء. يعني يؤدي العيوب. بالك طالب مثلا فكرة غريبة ما خطرت يعني غلط.
أنا عادي سبسيل بعد 10
ترجع تقول
وما أرجع للأولانيين أنقصهم على مبنى هذا وإنه هذا حطه.
غير شو مش هسوي. الجي صار معاكم ها؟ قريت الرول ماشي الحال.
أظن بيسووا
لسه في برنامج الدراسات يعني هذا تبع الدراسات العليا.
إيه بس أيام
Well, if you have something to
philosophy.
Some of them what you do take like
Dragon is a reading 21.
That's fine. Generally speaking,
افضل الميرجنج على هذا.
طيب, can we hear some of your suggestions regarding the rubrics? Anybody would like to share his?
And for the first one, I can see three things to check for. One, and the students know that he has to split it into two summations. Two is the limits of each summation, and three, the formula for, he knows the formula. Now, if it is positive, rubric, this is easy. But now with negative, I don't know, maybe you would say, you can take over. So I think if it's positive grading, I would put marks for each. If it's negative, I don't know, if I would say if he doesn't know that the formula is n times n minus 1, I will take 2 points. If he doesn't set the limits right, I will take 2 points.
Yeah, we used to be like that.
Okay, so
But how to put this in the program, let's see.
like any other suggestions? So basically, rubrics are based on recognizing there are two summations and
Limits.
the limits, getting the limits correctly, and then applying the formula. This is for positive grading, right?
Yes.
Now,
Swap. Microphone.
Just reduce the gain for this because
Kiev.
He has to reduce it from there.
because it's very high.
Maybe if I put it this way. Anything else? Anybody would like to give us an example for negative grading? Well, I want to see my negative grading. Let's look at my negative grading. Okay, so this is basically what I use. Now, if it is correct, I will have to, and this is something which is good by Gradescope, is you have to mark one of them. If you don't mark any, it could possibly be that you missed grading it. So you cannot assume if you do not have any marks that this means that it is full mark. If it is right, then you can choose one. So I said got the correct answer, the first one or the second one. In the second rubric represented the summation correctly, either by subtraction or by change of index. However, made one or more mistakes in the evaluation, which is kind of what you mentioned regarding the evaluation, right? And here say minus 2 points. Minus 4 points failed to represent the summation correctly by subtraction or by change of index. So in this case, he will take 1 out of 5. And of course, the last one is the attempt is either missing or basically nonsense was written. Okay. This is, by the way, I will consider it as an easy example. And one thing that is very nice about Gradescope is that notice here it is basically 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you are grading in front of the keyboard, if you can see the keyboard, if you put 1 and then so 1 you use your index ولا هذا السبابة you use this finger to put the 1 and then you can use your thumb to put Z. Z will take you to the next ungraded assignment. So now when you are grading, it will be something like this, you know, you look at the answer, yes, it is correct, so you will say 1 and then Z. It is not correct, it is, for example, -2, you go 2 and Z, 3 and Z, 1 Z, 1 Z, 1 Z. This will take from the time that if you have the papers in front of you, you know, taking the paper and putting it away, and then, you know, you get the paper. Or, for example, if you have multi-pages, first you need to get the thing, and then you might need to flip the page, and so on and so forth. This is much faster. In grading, it is much faster. And it provides actually 2 modes. You can put Z for next ungraded, or if you want to, you know, you did some grading and you want to do something or change something, you can actually go backwards and forward using the arrows. The arrows, it's basically based on the order in which the submissions were stored, right? So if I go back, let me show you in Gradescope. So let's now where were we? This was here. I think it was the midterm. By the way, keep this in mind. This is a regrade request that came to me, which is not being, by the way, handled 2 semesters ago. But it's okay. So this is the midterm.
You mean by a student?
Yes, a regrade request by I'll show it to you, inshallah, when I talk about regrading. Okay, so if we do grade submissions, and this is basically the question. Okay. So now, by the way, you can, as you can see, this is the space that you have allocated in order to see the answer. And based on that, I can use the arrows to go to the second, third, fourth, fifth. Of course, if I put Z now, it will take me outside because we finished the grading. All of them are graded, right? And basically, you can move forward and backward. Right. Now, assume that there was something that you want to reduce 0.5 points, and it was only one case. What you can do is, you can actually put it here down. Here, there's something which is called submission-specific adjustments. So you can add your comment here, and you can add if you want to remove part of the grade. So this is one thing. Another thing which is available in the full version, which was not available in the basic version, is that you can actually put the rubric for a mistake. You can actually put it inside the paper using, for example, these things. So let me go to a student who made a mistake. Let me show you the best way to go to a student who made a mistake. So if you want to see, for example, those students who lost 4 points, this is how you can do it. You go here, all these students lost 4 points. Right. How can I look at them? Just open a new tab, open link new tab, open link new tab, open link new tab, and let's go there, and let's look at their answers. Look at this, for example. I don't know if this is trial and error or whatever. I hope that you don't find a mistake in my grading. But okay, so now what I can do is using this I can scribble, although it's a little bit hard, you know, with the mouse if you want to write. But also I can do this. You can either put a comment or you can put a rubric and you say, well, it's basically, you know, failed to represent. And for example here, I will do it like this.
And the student sees this.
And the student sees this.
But he sees this anyhow, right?
He sees this, yes.
Okay.
But when you, if, for example, if you want the paper, although this will take time, yani, well, it will not take time because you can actually choose the rubric also from here. Yani, you don't have to choose the rubric from here, but it will take more time. It will be easier or faster if you just put 1, 2, 3 and then you move on. Okay. But here, if you do this, when you download a graded copy, this will appear on the graded copy. If you download a graded copy but you don't have these things here, it will download also the rubrics, and it will show you which ones were chosen, which ones were assigned. In both cases, it's fine. This will look, you know, nicer or similar to a real you know, exam paper being manually graded, but you can also do it the other way.
Listen, can you, Rosa, can you apply more than one rubric?
Yes.
And he has -2 because of this and -1 because of this?
Yes, yes, and I'll show it in the next. Let me show you. Let me go here, and in fact I will talk about it. So this is the, which one do I want to show you? Yeah, this one.
So you can click more than once, more than one.
Yes.
Okay.
You. Okay. Okay. See, this guy got 10.75 out of 15. Now let me go back to the presentation and then I'll come back to this. Let me just remove these. So the nice thing is that when you choose, you know, all the submissions that had a specific mistake, for example, assume that you think that this rubric is not correct, okay, and you want to get rid of it. Now, one way is, of course, you know, to go over each one of them and then see whether it is there or not. But using this way, you can actually choose or have a listing of the ones that made that mistake, and then, you know,